Hello everybody, and welcome to Blue Goose Garage. I wanted to talk about the 67 a little bit and some other stuff that I've been working on. I got a comment the other day. I've realized the entire time since that car's been painted that I should have really made a video showing how I did the black, but I didn't, and I meant to at the time, but I didn't because it was a lot. Not that any kind of fade is hard, but it's a lot for me to do in the amount of time that I had to do it. So in the future, I plan on using one of the old doors that came off that car, because when I repainted it, I had, I replaced both doors. So both those doors and the fender that was on it were all blue. So it really wouldn't be that big a deal just to go ahead and tape it up and do that. Especially, say, if I had a set of plastic headlights that I needed to clear coat anyway, I could, use a little bit to do that. But I don't know if he'll even watch this. I imagine that he would. But I put the base coat down first and the clear on the car, and it set a day or two, and I went back, well, really a week or two, because I drove it to town a couple times like that. But I taped it off with fine line tape and covered the whole car up everywhere else, and just went back and took some black base coat in a touch-up gun from Harbor Freight, one of those little cheap purple ones, and walked down the side of it doing that, and then took one layer of fine line tape off and cleared it. So there is a very small edge, but it's a clear edge. It does, however, seem like a lot of people at these car shows and stuff think that that's a sticker, because I've seen people pick at it. On the hood, there is no clear edge, because I, put the blue down and then taped off this and put the black down and then just cleared it all. So that's actually pretty much smooth. There's a little bit of one down the sides, but eventually this car is going to be painted again anyway, because something is going to happen to it. Either get backed into or just bodywork start to fail. So at that point, I might try to do this a little bit different. I am considering doing some kind of lace on the sail panels, and maybe something on the trunk. That's just maybe if I did something on the trunk, it would probably match the hood. That's kind of the beauty of something that's not original, and you can do what you want to with it. As far as bodywork failing goes, I think I showed this in a previous video. It's getting worse rapidly. It's bulged up on the edges right here. By the end of the summer, I'll probably have to grind that out and redo the hood, but it's going to do that. The other hood's, in theory, a better hood, so I may go ahead and use it instead of this one, because that's just going to keep coming back. There's filler in that hood. There's a lot of rust patches. It's doing what it's going to do, which is come back. And there's spots in the car that I can also think of that's more than likely going to do that, like the bottom of the doors and that fender and the quarter panels and stuff. And it really wouldn't matter. If I'd have replaced the entire quarter, you still have weld seams and stuff here and there that's going to rust. Anytime you mess with something, it's going to it's going to come back. I mean, they rusted out in the first place. So, anyway, there's the short 67 update. The Mazda B2300 that I worked on last year. I have it up here. We never did quite get all the air out of the hydraulic clutch, so I'm trying to mess with that a little bit. The transmission hasn't came back for the Suburban yet. We've been driving Courtney's car. The valve body, I took the valve body to the transmission guy, and he took it apart and cleaned it. And he didn't see anything wrong with it, but there had to be something stuck in there, because when I put it back together, it wasn't locking into third gear lock up anymore. It occasionally downshifts all the way, but those cars were kind of bad for doing that anyway. Neons were, that 3-speed was bad for doing that if it's set. My car did it a little bit once, and I put some cleaner in it and it stopped doing it, and it's been fine ever since so far. We had another one that did it, so I put some Seafoam Trans-Tune in that red car, and it's helping. I just figured I'd make this video as a update and talk about a couple things. I'm going to try to show putting that transmission back up in that Suburban more than I normally do. Starting to rain. Alright, so there's an update on this, and the update on the Neons and Suburban, everything else I've been working on. But one more thing on this Chevelle. I still haven't made rear door panels. I made my front ones, and they're really holding up pretty good. That never really was attached, so I've got armrests on the front door panels, and I've got rear ones. I showed those months ago. Where's the other one at? I've got some stuff you can see. Alright, so this would go, what? Where's the holes? Right here. You know, I may not have all the holes. I guess right here. The reason you can kind of say that, or I could kind of say that, you know, the back of this car, none of this is exactly the way it was. Some of this panel is bent. So I guess that's one of them. Here's one of them. Another one. So yeah, right here. But none of this panel is exactly factory. So it's always a possibility that some of it might not be the way it should be. But I'm going to make door panels soon. I'm going to make a video doing that. Wasn't really happy with how I did the video the first time on the front ones. So I'm going to show how I decided to make door panels. And yeah, it would be nice to have original style door panels, but I ended up with less than $100 in, well, really about 80 in making these door panels, because I already had the metal, and you can't get one door panel for that. So this project is a low budget project. It's like a lot of people at car shows and cruise-ins and stuff don't get, because they'll try to start talking to you about how you need to get that because it's not right without it. Seats, for instance. Well, I don't really want to spend more on front seats than I spent on the interior of this car. I agree that it needs to have the right bucket seats, but I've actually sat in a couple original 67s with bucket seats, and I'm 6'4", 6'5". With original bucket seats, my head hits the headliner. So these happen to be a little bit lower, which means that honestly, for me, these seats are the right height for me. Originals aren't. So instead of spending, I mean, I could put originals in it and just have them lower, but that's not going to be right either. Then somebody's going to say that it's not a bucket seat car because it doesn't have the braces. So if it's not going to be right either way, I'd rather not spend $1,400, $1,500, $2,000 on a set of seats. I would rather spend, say, half that fixing these seats and actually being able to sit in the car without having my head hit the headliner. I know that's something that a lot of people don't really think about, but a lot of people don't drive their car as much as I do this one. So, you know, that's something to think about. I have to think and look at things on this car from a different perspective than most, because I am so tall and because I drive this car all the time. I don't see a reason to spend that much for something that's not going to really improve the car that much. It's not going to have the right door panels. It's not going to have the right bucket seats. I'm not saying that eventually I wouldn't buy a set of door panels, because I would. I'd buy a set of door panels and armrest pads and a matched set of blue window rollers. But I don't really see a reason to. That's not going to hurt it. You know, that's metal behind that vinyl. So if it happens to get wet, it's not going to hurt it. This isn't going to change. And even if I did have the right earmuffs, that piece of steel right there would be in the way. So, you know, there's, if you should have and did and could have situations, but in reality of it is certain things on this car are just the way they are because they had to be that way. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was maybe a little bit hard to follow some of that, but I just wanted to talk about the car a little bit and talk about some stuff that I've been working on and talk about the interior of this car a little bit. Anyway, I'll see you again next time. Bye.